Today's reading will be 2 Samuel, chapters 1 through 4. Hey, let's do a little bit of makeup. The next 6 days, if we'll do 4 chapters, we'll get through this book. And as you see, I get one more day in my office here to go ahead and broadcast to you. I'm sure we'll be moved by tomorrow. All right, chapter 1, we find this Amelakite here shows up, and people call this a contradiction. It's kind of silly. Either the Amalekite lied, or Saul fell on his own sword but didn't die. The Amalekite, and I personally think he lied, because when you get to chapter 4, he thought that David talks about it briefly. So there's no contradiction here. It's just, why would you even think that was? Notice David says, "Tell it not in Gath." I heard a sermon on that one time. We don't always have to give everybody all the information that we have. I think sometimes we're a little too open with our information. Not everybody has to know everybody's business. Even though it would have been true, even though it would have been the news, it just didn't need to be stated. Sometimes there are things we don't need to talk about. Again, don't make David and Jonathan weird or sinful. David didn't have a really good relationship with any woman. Abigail may have been, but even Abigail was one of how many wives? Which is now the third, and by the end of today, we're going to find that David steals back his first. How does Abigail fit into this? Do you think that he had a great relationship with Bathsheba? He's probably the closest, but all of these relationships are strained. Jonathan was his great relationship, and so when you read that, again, don't make it weird. Don't make it sinful. Notice that David is not hasty. He waits for the Lord's instruction. And then a little bit of trivia here. Ish-bosheth is the second king of Israel. So the kingdom's divided now. It will be united under David. It will be further united and expanded under Solomon, but it will be right after Solomon. Now we're talking about civil war. We're talking about David, who is a seasoned veteran of war. And then we see, Joab and Abner. Abner tries to avoid killing Joab's brother, and but still does. That might come back to haunt him later. Here in chapter 3, we find David's multiple wives. That's not going to work out well for him. Israel was warned against this, but yet here we are, doing it. David was warned against it. This is going to cause a lot of heartache in his life. So Abner then switches sides, and then Joab kills him for killing his brother. Joab's life is kind of interesting. He follows some of the wrong people. It's going to be that at the end of his life, David on his deathbed will tell Solomon to kill Joab. So it's interesting here. Hebron is one of the cities of refuge. So Joab asks Abner to come to the gate, because if he kills him inside of the city, he could get in trouble. How he calls him outside of the city, Abner goes, Joab kills him. And that's why in verse 33, David says, did he die like a fool? Yeah, he shouldn't have gone outside that city. So also we find here, David's leadership style is, I think is interesting. Here, he laments and makes a big deal out of Abner's death. And part of the reason that he does that is because he wants to let any other defectors know that, hey, listen, this death wasn't because of me. You come to my side, you're going to be treated well. We're going to treat you well. We're going to take you in. And he's trying to unify Israel. So that's why he makes a big deal out of this. Now in chapter 4, Ish-bosheth is killed. And then you just have to ask yourself this question. Do these people not get it? You're going to go to David with news that you just killed a king who happens to be a son of Saul, brother of Jonathan. You're going to kill him in his bed, and then you're going to come to David expecting reward. You're causing David to not fulfill his promise to Jonathan. Just so many things here. Just like with the Amalekite in chapter 1, these 2 men are killed. So, hey, 4 chapters, that wasn't too painful. Let's go ahead and do that again tomorrow, shall we? So I'm already looking forward to it, and you have a great day.